Hey guys, my name is Sam and welcome back to Sam's Garden Project, where I am gardening in the suburbs of Melbourne. So I know it's been a while since my last video. I've just been busy trying to get some uni stuff done. I've had a big assignment due, so I haven't been filming anything for YouTube. I have been out in the garden doing some odd jobs and tidying up a bit. Now that autumn is here, the cooler weather has definitely set in. We've got a bit of a break in the weather, got some blue sky. So I just thought I'd come out here and show you what's been happening. So over the last couple of days we've had about 16 mil of rain. I think we had 11 mil overnight and then 5 mil the day before. So we've had a bit of rain, which is good. The garden's loving it. We had like no rain during January, which is quite different to the last couple of years where we've had 150 mil just in summer alone. So nice to get some rain in the garden. The chickens are doing well. They are just living their life. Whenever I come out here they just go nuts. They just be like, let me out, let me out. So I'll give you a bit of an update on what are you doing up there? That's the first time I've seen them on that stick, but that's good. Bit of an update on the garden. I've got a lot of the covers on the beds for cabbage and moth, so I've got my brassicas planted. I've done a lot of cleaning up and pulling out weeds and dead plants. I found a little watermelon, which I put on my Instagram stories if you follow me on Instagram. I was cleaning out my cosmos and I thought my watermelon was just this little bit of vine here, and then I didn't realize that it had grown all through the cosmos. I've cut this back a bit and there's a tiny little watermelon. So I don't think this is going to mature, but I'll leave it on for as long as possible. It's still rock hard. We'll see what happens with that. I've got my 2 butternut pumpkins. The vine has powdery mildew on it, which is typical for this time of year. They still don't look like they've ripened much. Like there's lots of green still on the skin. I thought they would get a bit bigger, but I'm happy just to leave them there and see what happens with them. Unless something starts eating them, then they're coming inside. But yeah, powdery mildew all over the leaves. And then silver beet down the end, which is growing nicely. Some beans that were late to put in. In this bed here, I've got basil, which I need to cut back. Beetroot's growing well. And I've got my cauliflowers. They were put in quite a while ago, so they are starting to form heads now. Here is a late planting of like some sort of squash. It was just from like a mystery punnet. Plenty of flowers, but I don't think any of them will mature fruit because of the season. It's just getting really cold now. Plenty of flowers. Some of the leaves are getting powdery mildew as well. And then a late planting of zucchini as well. There's some female flowers about to open, so maybe we'll get a couple more zucchini before winter really sets in. Over in this bed here we have kale and the kohlrabi. So these were planted at the same time as the brassicas in the tall bed, and they're doing really well. You can see kale. I'll be able to harvest some of that soon and use for dinner. Let me go like this. That's looking really good. And the kohlrabi is getting some size to it as well. Because of the really strange weather we had in summer this year, I'm hoping to really get a lot of bang for my buck from the brassicas and the winter crops. Do some succession, do multiple harvests, just try and get a lot more from the garden, because during summer I barely got anything, which is a bit disappointing. So now I'm trying to kick into gear and get as much as I can growing in the garden to kind of make the most of the garden space. I think my apple tree is a bit confused. It's autumn and it's starting to flower again. This one didn't have any fruit on it, but now it's flowering. That's a bit strange. So in the jalapeno bed, chili bed, and the capsicums, they are doing alright. There's a few more things to harvest. My Carolina Reaper, I grew these from seed, and the plant has taken forever because of the mild summer. It's got a whole bunch of flowers on it and buds forming. I might actually overwinter them, so I'll put them in a pot in the greenhouse, or if I don't want to disturb the roots, we'll just see what stage they are in, like the flowering and the fruiting. I might even put the greenhouse cover over the top, and that will trap a lot of the heat into this bed just to keep it a lot warmer and extend the season. Over here I planted some flowers. I've just blanked marigold flowers to add a bit of colour in here, so that's doing well for the beneficial bugs. I haven't done anything else. Basil's going gangbusters that we planted in, so I can come and harvest some of that. Same with the chamomile. The loofahs are slowly drying out. That looks like it's got some fungal disease, but I'm hoping it just dries out. We have had a lot of rain in the last 2 days, so let's see if that just dries out naturally. It's turning yellow a bit, so that's a good sign that it's starting to dry out. Over here we've got cabbages down this end and broccoli, I think, down the other end. So it's doing well, but a lot of weeds have been, let's take it under, a lot of weeds have been popping up from the sheep manure, which is fine, and I'm noticing some of the aphids are starting to get on leaves and curling leaves over. But that's okay, I just need to come through and weed them. In this bed here I pulled out the Rondinese zucchini that was down this end, and this is where the onions were. I didn't put the cover on this straight away, so the blackbirds did dig up a lot of them and made quite a bit of a mess. Same with the snow peas, the blackbirds dug up a whole bunch of them, but I did seed some more which are slowly popping up, as well as some lettuce down this end, but there's a lot of weed starting to pop up too. So with the weeds, I think I'll just pull them and then compost them on top and add some nutrients to the soil and try and work on that soil building, healthy soils. I have some mycorrhizal fungi, I think it's called. I don't know if that's pronunciation is right, in a packet that I bought, so I can spread some in the soil when I do my next planting, and hopefully that adds a little bit of life to the soil too. I think about a week ago I also fertilized all my citrus trees, so there's plenty of new growth on this little dwarf orange tree, along with a couple of fruit that were pollinated a while ago. There's a big one there too. So it's all looking good. So in terms of all the fruit trees, I have some pruned them. They might be looking a bit, I don't know, bare I suppose, but I gave them a decent cutback. I know stone fruit you're meant to prune in summer, which I've never done before, so this year I've pruned them, and then the pear I haven't touched yet. The pear's there, and then the pear and the apple over that side I will prune when they go dormant and lose all their leaves. But I'm hoping that I do the summer pruning right, just shape them a bit, take off some height and some leaf, some foliage, and we'll see what happens in the spring. Hopefully I haven't cut too much and they don't get any buds at all. I've also been working on weeding all the grass seeds out and any weeds in between these garden beds, along the back fence there, just tidying it up, pulling out everything that doesn't need to be in the garden and getting it clean and fresh, ready for winter, where I won't need to do much work out here at all. My 2 avocado trees that I had in the pot there and in that one along the fence, they both died. I know they're notorious to try and grow in Melbourne. Our weather just isn't warm enough for them. So they've both died, which it happens. So I do have some stone fruit. I've got a plum tree and I've got a quince tree that I got from my auntie, so I'm going to put them in each pot there, but when they go dormant during winter, not to disturb their roots or anything, they'll be dormant, ready for spring growth. So I've got plans for those pots. I also want to get rid of this plant along the chicken coop here. It's got spikes on it. I'm not sure what it is. If anyone can identify it, it has these white flowers on it and it's a vine with spikes. I want to cut it out and put a passion fruit so the passion fruit can go along the fence, have some fruit trees, and just make a bit more use of the space that I've got. So as you can tell, I haven't cut back my asparagus fronds yet. They're just flowing around in the wind, but they aren't dead yet, so they're starting to turn orange, starting to die back a bit. But I'm gonna let them go until they are super dried out and an orange in colour, just so that I know the root system has all that energy stored for spring, because asparagus is one of my favourite things to eat in the springtime. It's one of the first things that pop up in the garden, so I really want to try and maximise that yield of asparagus. So maybe in a couple weeks or a month or so I will be cutting them back and fertilising the asparagus. So down this end of the chili capsicum bed, I haven't harvested much of the capsicums yet. They've got all different types of colours. They are still small, but even the plant's wanting to flower again. So the weather has been so topsy-turvy. I think we had 26 degrees a couple days ago, and then it's going to be 15 degrees tomorrow. But yeah, just so inconsistent. The plants don't know what to do with themselves. We've got small fruit, flowers, fruit ready to harvest, all different stages, and the weather just doesn't know what to do. The plants don't know what to do. And yeah, so these aren't going to last very much longer. I think the cold weather has definitely set in now. You can probably hear the wind hustling around, blowing around me. But yeah, bit of a garden tour, bit of an update. I planted some sweet potato in this little pot here. I know it's not really the season, but I can just put it in the greenhouse if it gets too cold and it starts dying back. But this is good because it can just grow in a confined space. I don't need to take up one of my beds, have it covered, and sweet potato is a really good starch, which I want to grow more of. Same with potato. I did go to the Melbourne International Flower and Garden Show that was in Melbourne, in the city, a couple weeks ago. I bought a few things. That might be another little quick video that I'll make. Lots of bulbs, some plants. Yeah, I didn't take any footage while I was there just because it was so chaotic with people everywhere. There was school groups, there was elderly groups, there was people everywhere, but it was amazing. I'm sure if you follow any gardener on Instagram, heaps of us went there. Lots of photos, lots of videos, lots of reels. But yeah, if you get a chance next year, I would recommend going. It's a really good chance to see flowers and styling and get design inspo for gardens, as well as pick up some goodies in all the stalls that they have there. So it's just starting to rain again now. The blue sky has gone. So I'm going to run inside, edit this video, upload it, and maybe I'll show you what I got from the Flower and Garden Show. I'll put a little haul video together and we'll see what happens from there. So I know it's been a while. It's been about 2 weeks since my last video. Thanks for watching, and I hope you're enjoying your weekend and get to working in the garden. So thanks guys, and I'll see you next time.